So the audio might not be the best, but I'm just gonna take this in one rip. I'm gonna talk to you guys about how I made this amount in like 2.5 months, but initially it was 12,000 in the month of October 2024. Some keys that I've written down that helped me get to that number. Obviously, like, it's not a crazy huge number, but it's a very doable number, since I feel like nowadays 10K a month is like a meme because of Ashton Hall. So we're just gonna go over what I did personally. Didn't already know, I run Bad Business Report, which is a apparel company based out of the powerlifting space. So my highest sales in 1 month was this amount. I believe it's gonna say $16,250 from October to January 2025. About 90% of this, which is probably 12 point, like right here, 12.6 thousand, came on drop day and the day after drop day. And that's 180 shirts, and each shirt was at $70. So obviously our gross wasn't 10K, it was more like 98. And then we hit 10 around the following week and the end of the month. So this is literally in one day. We hit a gross of about 98,000 or 9,800. What I did was organic and paid advertisement. In my personal opinion, I think the organic advertising was a lot better because I had a following already in the powerlifting space. Now, when it goes for the paid advertisements, I'm not very versed in meta ads and Facebook meta ads, but if you're into that, you can easily figure that out because, like, the guys at Worker, Sean Mills, he knows how to do that pretty well. 110% does it really well. I'm not really sure what their numbers are, but these are mine. And when I say organic ads, we also had prior drops in the past that allowed us to build a reputation to have a larger drop like this. At the time, this was a large drop. This was the first 10K in one day that we did. So, second point right here, pre-order and in stock is essentially if you're gonna be placing your orders and then putting those funds into production and then waiting for about 5 to 6 weeks. So depending on how intense your drop is and how much you have behind it, you may want to go and do the pre-order method. But if you have the overhead to get your stock in and then ship it out in a timely manner, like 2 or 3 days, then you can do the pre-purchase. But usually, if there's not really a reputation there, you don't really want to do pre-purchase unless you're really about customer service. And it's okay, like, you just have to put in the description that you're not going to be shipping the things out in 4 to 8 weeks. So that covers the fourth point of what to do if you don't have the funds. You go the pre-order method. So with pre-order, you have to remember that depending on where your manufacturer is, if you're doing domestic in the US, you'll probably have a shorter shipping time of about 5 to 8 days, depending on your freight. But if you're doing domestic, you'll also run into the roadblock of it taking more time to produce your goods, depending on how specific and how detailed or high quality your product is. So say you're doing like a knitwear zip up with Riri zippers. Those are the zippers inside the Amiri jeans from back in the day and the Fear of God jeans. You're gonna have to be paying for those, obviously, but at the same time, some of these warehouses don't have them in stock, and they're gonna have to source them on their own. So, if I were to do a collection based out of Houston, most of the Houston manufacturers and printers and clothing people don't have Riri zippers on demand. Now, what they will have is things like blank t-shirts, blank long sleeves, hats, shorts, low quality shorts, sweatpants, items like that. Very quick and accessible cut and sew items. But if you want to do knitwear, you want to do hoodies that are very pre-distressed, pre-fitted, or an exact template in your collection, you're probably going to be looking at about 4 weeks, maybe 6 weeks in developing, sampling, and then adding on top 2 weeks, which is 10 days approximately, to ship the product here. That's why it's 4 to 8 weeks. So you're probably wondering if I was told this by someone, but no, it's just you have to put into account how important it is to you to follow up with customer service, and obviously every small business should put that at the forefront. However, in the case that you don't have the initial funds to pay for, $5,000 of apparel to land in your warehouse and have no extra funds to cover it, it's probably a better idea to go pre-order and make a product that's good enough for people to not wait 4 to 6 weeks, if that makes sense. But back to marketing the product. Once you've developed and you've picked whether or not your product actually even needs to be made, because I feel like a lot of people will make things that don't really have a space, especially with the consumerism. However, consumerism pays your bills. If you have a solid product and you really believe it's going to work, and those around you may or may not believe, but if it's going to work, you're going to want to look into flat lays, high quality flat lays. You're going to need the shirt on a white background, maybe a concrete background, but it has to be completely flat. You cannot take an iPhone photo where it's kind of skewed. Otherwise, when you have people outside of your niche trying to purchase items, they're not really going to have a lot of faith in you, because they feel like it's kind of unprofessional and it's not a legit business. So flat lays are probably the first thing that I would look into. You can do them on your iPhone. Just find some poster board, find a nice flat industrial concrete if your brand allows for that, or just rent a studio for $40 an hour and use the white floor. Second, that's where studio time comes in. Are you going to be doing models? Are you going to be doing on-body photos? If so, try to aim towards the white studio, or you can do a very thoughtful shoot in the organic environment. Sometimes people would just go to a local park and use poorly lit images, and it shows how out of touch your brand is with the actual audience. I get that having an actual camera and taking photos of the product makes sense in your head and would show that you put that extra effort in, but I promise you, if anyone has been scrolling for more than 10 minutes and is in this space, will see right through it and feel like your brand is not serious enough. So invest in a good production, a good promo image, anything like that. If you cannot be creative, maybe find someone who is, consult them, pay for a little bit of their time to figure out what you could possibly do. So that covers flat lay, studio times, which is all your promo stuff. Endorsement. So what I did personally was I would reach out to creators in the space, the powerlifting community, influencers around 10K, 15K, because at these sizes of accounts, they will take your product and promote it without taking payment, because they are more excited about the fact that they were gifted something or they were in mind. And that's a good thing, because you want to save as much money as you can while you're promoting your product, because you aren't selling it. This is all before drop day. So you got to find those smaller accounts, people you appreciate, people that have supported you, but ideally it's your 10K to 15K, 20K if you're lucky. I know there's a couple of Gymshark athletes that they can't wear other things and promote them because they have a contract deal. Like, I remember I was trying to hit up Jamal Browner, and the person I asked to connect me with him said he's got a Gymshark deal, he can't promote it, it's just what it is. So keep that in mind. So yeah, your local community is people 10K to 15K, or you could run an event to promote the item. Maybe you have a gym space, but if you're making apparel in like the car community, maybe you promote it at car meets. If you're in the sports apparel, whatever sport it is, maybe you pay for an ad for a booth at any event. If you're a lifestyle holistic brand, you go to a holistic fair, you just get your name out there. So you gotta find the way to save as much money, but to actually have a meaningful type of promotion. You could do a free event. You could play and DJ a free event. You could play for a frat, connect with the social chair, things like that that's gonna get your name out there and get people to come back. So that's probably my first episode. If I didn't really cover how to make that first 10K, I think these are the things you should be keeping in mind in order to get to that 10K. It's not a, oh, do this, and do this. It's, you have to put all these things in together. So comment down below if you have